Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, I'm Eliana Daisy, but people mainly just call me Ellie, and I make spooky sort of videos on YouTube, so yeah. Now today I'm going to be telling stories and asking my haunted doll, Sarah. Yes, Sarah's here with me. Sarah, some questions. I don't know why Sarah's head is like that. Her head was not like that before. That's a bit weird. Anyway, I'm going to ask Sarah about these haunted objects after I tell a story of them. Also, can I just tell you that Sarah's sat on my table right now. Normally she can't sit up by herself. There's nothing behind her. There's legit nothing behind her, and she just sat up by herself. Isn't that like weird that she's sitting up by herself and she can't normally sit up by herself? Her hand is like up like this for some reason. Like one of her hands is like this and the other one's just up above it like this for some reason. I don't know why that is. Also, before recording, this light started like flickering for some reason and she sat right next to the light. So tell me if it like starts to flicker or something as I'm talking. Anyway, the first story is about the dinosaur toy from the Devil Made Me Do It case. That's based on a film in Ed and Lorraine Warren's occult museum. It's locked in their occult museum right now. So the story goes that a little boy called David had this dinosaur toy, and it would move around the carpet and like levitate and stuff like that and say you're all gonna die. You'd hear a voice coming out of it saying you're all gonna die to the family as they like eating dinner, stuff like that, like sleeping and stuff like that. They would hear that. And that little boy had a big sister, and the big sister had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend said to this demon, like they were doing an exorcism on the little boy because the little boy was getting possessed basically, and the boyfriend said, "Possess me instead." Who's Arnie Johnson, I think? Yeah, Arnie Johnson said that. He said, "Possess me instead, I'm a man, he's only a little boy, possess me instead." And about a week later, I think, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube. Don't want to try to YouTube for saying this. I think I said it. Nah, it's only other YouTubers said that he grabbed a pocket knife and like stabbed someone to death. Basically grabbed a pocket knife and like stabbed his best friend or like his landlord to death or something. Which is really, really crazy. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to upload that, but I just wrote down, I don't know if you can even see that, but Annabelle, and all my pictures just fell out on the top of Sarah's lap, but yeah, I just wrote down Annabelle. Can you see that? Annabelle. Yeah, I just wrote down Annabelle for some reason. I do like write Annabelle down a lot because she's like the strongest thing in the Warren's Occult Museum, and I will be talking about her a bit later on. Like some of my pictures fell out. That's one of my pictures. That's a picture that I painted. Here's another one of my pictures. It's just the flowers. I don't know if you can tell it's the flowers. It's not that good. And here's another picture that I drew. You can get my artist skills from my mum, for sure. Hold a second. Right, I might ask her on the GhostTube app, so you'll see that recording just now. You won't see me, but you'll hear me answering, like asking questions, and you'll see that recording just now on the GhostTube app. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to record for that, but I just wrote down. I don't know if you can see that, but Annabelle, and all my pictures just fell out on the top of Sarah's lap, but yeah, I just wrote down Annabelle. Can you see that? Annabelle. Yeah, I just wrote down Annabelle for some reason. I do like write Annabelle down a lot because she's like the strongest thing in the Lawrence Cop Museum, and I will be talking about her a bit later on. Like some of my pictures fell out. That's one of my pictures. That's a picture that I painted. Here's another one of the pictures. It's just the flowers. I don't know if you can tell the flowers are really good. And here's another picture that I drew. You can get my artistic skill. Artist skills from my mum. Sure. Hold a second. Right, I might ask her on the GhostTube app, so you'll see that recording just now. You won't see me, but you'll hear me answering, like asking questions, and you'll see.
It smells.
Smells. Right guys, I'm going to take you off of the sands that you're on right now so you can actually see the light flickering. Because Sarah, I swear, is making the light flicker, and I've been so here watching it flicker for ages. So I'm going to take you off the stand so you can see how that's actually making it flicker. Hi guys, I'm back and I'm gonna tell the next story now, which is of Annabelle. I don't really want to tell the actual story of her, but I will. So, a long time ago, I can't remember when, but like a long time ago, a 28-year-old nurse got a Raggedy Ann doll as a Christmas present from her mother. From the first store, mom got it from the first store. And like she would just take it to bed, she would wrap her arm around it and go to sleep. And so one morning she started taking it to breakfast, and the hands levitated up onto the table one morning. So then one of them goes, I know a psychic, because she lived with a nun nurse, and one of them goes, I know a psychic, and they thought psychics had come, and the psychic goes, I think it's a 6 or 7-year-old girl that goes by the name of Annabelle Higgins, and she died in a car accident outside your apartment. So, and they believed that, they actually believed that. So they started treating it like a little girl. They would get it bracelets, changing her clothes, stuff like that. Until one day the boyfriend of one of the nurses said, I don't like that doll. Get rid of it and burn it. He didn't like it. He fell asleep one afternoon and he had a nightmare that the doll was choking him to death. He woke up with a jump and he was like, oh my god, I just had the most terrible dream ever. That doll was choking me, and like there was like these red marks all around his neck. So he decides one day to walk into the nurse's room, one of their rooms, and he sees the doll lying on the floor. So he picks it up, throws it across the room and says, that's just a Raggedy Ann doll, it can't do anything to anyone. And that's when 7 scratches appeared on his chest and on his stomach. 4 on his chest and 3 on his stomach. Blood came right through his shirt. They were like really scared then. So they called a priest, and the priest contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, world's greatest paranormal investigators and demonologists. And they came and said that is not a little girl spirit, that's a demon pretending to be a little kid spirit. And then they take it back to their home, but the car starts acting weird and stuff like that. Like they always hit things, their brakes fail multiple times, and then Ed reaches into his pocket and splashes the doll with holy water, and the doll stops. And they get back home and they put it in a chair for ages. It's in a chair for about a year, I think. Until one day a priest came to the museum and saw the doll. He said, "Ed, can I see that doll that's possessed by devils?" Because he always called Ed would not always call it Annabelle, he would call it the devil doll. And Ed said yeah, and he took the priest to go see the devil doll, and the priest picked up the doll and threw it across the room, just like the young man did, and said, "God is more powerful than the devil." And at first Ed was like, "You shouldn't have done that, Father," and then he said, "Yeah, you're right, God is more powerful than the devil, but no man is, no priest is." And that priest hopped into his brand new car and got hit by a truck. He got hit by a truck and half of his car was like destroyed. And he's paralyzed from the waist down today. And the last thing that he says remember seeing is that doll in the back seat of his car. That's the last thing that he says he remembers seeing, staring at him, was that doll. Now, a young man came into the museum one day, and at this point, Ed and Lorraine Warren decided to put the doll inside of a case and lock it inside of a case. The same case that is locked in today. I'll put a picture up on the screen right now. Me editing will shove a picture up on the screen right now and show you. And he decided to not believe Ed. Ed told him a story about the doll and got to like the scratches with the boyfriend of one of the nurses, and at this point Ed walked over and started talking about something else. And that boy ran over to the case and started knocking on the glass case, saying, "I don't believe this is a bunch of bull. If that doll can do something, I want it to do something to me. I want it to put scratches on me." And started telling Annabelle to put scratches on him. He didn't make it home. He hopped on his motorbike and started driving away because Ed kicked him out of the museum, and 3 hours later he was dead. Basically what happened was he was laughing about the doll and he crashed into a tree and died instantly. And his girlfriend survived, but she was in the hospital for a year because she was in a coma. That's why you do not challenge demons or devils, that's for sure. Sorry, I started running out of breath. Anyway, I can ask Sarah some questions now.
What will happen?
I don't know what will happen with Annabelle. You can tell me what will happen?
Light.
Lights! Yeah, there is a light. Can you see the light? Are you gonna head towards it?
I'm listening.
Hi guys, this will probably be it for today's video. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it is gonna be it because this video is gonna be quite long otherwise. And tell me if you like if I read like scary stories and tell you scary stories and speak to my haunted doll about them. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.